live radio, local podcasts, the Frederick Podcast Network at listenfrederick.com.
Hey, what's going on, all? Welcome to the Original Sports Podcast with yours truly, Mark Maradei, and the Barbershop Crew. I've got a couple of my guys here, as always. What a weekend of football. Yes, we will be breaking it down for you from our perspectives. We'll look at facts, but yet we'll give some opinions on how we think it could have gone just a little bit better. You know, we always have some outlandish opinions, but we don't give those without some facts. We want to know the turning point each, maybe the player who didn't show up for their team that needed to, maybe some basic info on how these games were approached based off the evaluations they broke down. It's all going to be here tonight, I promise you. Don't forget to chime in on our chat. We love when you guys jump on the chat and message us and ask us questions and things like that. That's a great thing for us. We like hearing your opinions also, whether they matter to us or not. I don't know. Maybe they do. But I'm kidding. Psych. Let's fire things up, folks. Let's get this show rocking right now.
National Streaming Sports is brought to you in part by BetUs.com, designed for true fans. NFL odds, Week 1 and futures, college football odds, including Heisman Trophy favorites and playoff odds, NBA odds of division winners and playoffs, Major League Baseball playoff and World Series odds, the National Hockey League Conference playoffs and Stanley Cup odds, and boxing wagers. Betting opportunities include versus the spreads and outright winners, also during the game. Use our link on our website, nessp.info, the Bet Us Opportunities webpage, for a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. Must be 21 years old, and remember, bet responsibly.
You're going to call anyone that loves you. You're going to ask them if you can use their card to buy concert tickets because your card's maxed out. Okay. If they say yes, you get the tickets.
I can't call my parents because they already think I make bad financial decisions. Well, so I think I'll call one of my friends.
Okay.
I'm a little nervous. I feel tingly.
What's your not answer?
Giovanna?
Yes.
I was on SeatGeek earlier and I saw 2 tickets for Olivia Rodrigo at a really, really, really good price. So
Oh my god.
I maxed my credit card out by accident last week. Do you think I could use yours to buy the tickets?
Oh my god, yes.
Did I what?
Yeah, you got the tickets. You got the tickets.
I just want tickets. We're going to go to the concert together. Giovanna, I'll call you later. Love you. Thanks for picking up. Oh my god. I'm going to see Olivia Rodrigo.
Yes, thank you, SeatGeek.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world, it's time to experience the O's on the Original Sports Podcast.
Heck, fellas, I thought we were going to have to put on an APB for Chops. He was nowhere to be seen. We were already into the intro, and all of a sudden, boop, there he is.
I know my computer was cutting up, acting like it was from Vandergrift. Y'all was about to put student loan people out for me. Don't find anybody. Don't find anybody.
Was ICE coming to your house to get that computer running?
Ooh, you know what I mean? Woo-hoo.
Oh, shit. Hey, let me ask you a question. This is for all 3 of you guys. It's 1990, let's say 3, maybe 4.
I graduated.
No, we got to go a little deeper now. Let's go 1996. It's Friday night. Where you at? What are you doing?
1996?
Yeah.
I'm in the workforce, man. I was working.
Damn.
I was working, yeah.
At night?
At night?
Friday night?
Yeah. Yeah, my firstborn. I was home.
Oh.
I know where I was at. Yeah, 1996,
Okay.
firstborn.
He was
man.
like this, huh?
Probably. Yeah.
Chops, where was you at?
Yeah, we gonna keep it a buck. That was back then, 96, 97, TGIF.
Oh.
On Thursdays, it was Martin, then Living Single, and then also with Malik Yoba, New York Undercover. I didn't go nowhere until I watched those. On Fridays, it was Family Matters, Step by Step. I wasn't going nowhere until I watched those. Then after that, I might hit the Golden Lounge for me, because back then I hadn't come down to Georgia yet. So I was still up in PA. So I'm hitting the Golden Lounge, might hit, the sports page, which was the Clarion Hotel by the Tarentum Bridge, then might kick it down to Chauncey's or whatever. Yeah, dog. That's what your boy was doing. But I wasn't leaving the spot until 10. Had to watch TGIF.
Okay, so know that Chauncey's was on Thursday nights. That's what Chauncey's was.
No. That was college night. But they used to have a little older. Don't forget, Big Dog. I always used to go like to the old, like it would.
Oh, okay.
It was like for grown folks on Friday night. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Before we go any further, I'm gonna tell you a Chauncey story. Walking through Chauncey's, bumping to this big black guy. I look up. It's Eric Green.
Oh shit!
That's when he's arguing about money. I said, "Hey, aren't they paying you enough?" He stops. He turns around. He goes, "What's enough?" And he walks away.
Okay. Real quick, I might have one that could beat that.
What's enough?
We're at Dawnsies. Remember Dawnsies?
Oh yeah.
We're Dawnsies. And I'm sitting there, we're chilling. Music's groovy, whatever have you, right? I see his little shorty doo-wop. So I said, let me holler. You know what I mean? Worst he can say is no. So I go over to talk to her, right? So we're talking. I think we're vibing. I think we're doing it well. You know what I mean? So I'm like, let's do this. Let's buy you a drink, whatever have you. She says, no, like with an attitude. She's like, my boyfriend is famous and has money and whatever. I was like, hey, where? And I'm thinking she's lying, right? I'm thinking she's lying. I said, I don't care. I'll slap your boyfriend. Now, Ma, go ahead.
Now, no, go ahead. I'm thinking it was a wide receiver, but go ahead.
No, it's an athlete. So, mind you, at this point, I'm still on martial arts, doing my thing, grinding, big, strong. I'll slap him. I don't care whoever you bring. I'm good. I'll bring him, right? I said, and I don't care who it is. I'll slap him. Little fella, right? Little black dude like me comes around the corner. I'm like, but I can see him from a distance, but it's in the crowd, so I can't make it out who it is. So I said, I don't care who he is. Comes around the corner. It's Chico Lean. Remember the old?
Oh shit!
Yes. I was like, you're a shortstop and you don't have a bat in your. I'm ready. Let's do whatever. So I'm still talking trash. It's Chico Lean.
He played
when
second.
I turn around and tell you, like 3 or 4 other Pirates were there, a whole group, and other like he had a whole tribe with them. I was like, yo, at this point, it's about time for me to dip. I'll never forget that.
What was weird about Donzi's is Pirates would be there, but none of the girls knew who they were.
No.
So after the Pirates won the National League champion, or when they were in the National League Championship Series, I think it was. My boy Tommy Lucchino and I went to High Tops. Remember High Tops in Monroeville?
Yes.
We went there. It's just like 1990 or whatever. So we're drinking, we're partying, we're having fun, and there's this huge table of guys. There's like 12 dudes sitting at this table. It's fucking the Pirates. John Snally, John Cangelosi, LaValliere, Don Slott. Don Slott is piss ass drunk. Flipped over the booth, and like Cangelosi and someone come over to help him up. We're like, here, we'll help you out. Cangelosi's like, hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Why don't you come and have a drink with us? They picked up the tab for me and my buddy Lucchino that night. We sat with the Pirates that night. Dre back. It was, what a night. Well, I'll tell you what, I've never seen a professional athlete other than Brett Favre. The time I met Brett Favre, I've never seen a professional athlete that wasted like Slot was that night.
Oh man. Hey, listen, I got more stories like that. Yeah. Ernie Mills. Yeah.
Oh, no skills.
Ernie and Yancey used to run around. They were like thick as thieves, man.
Yes.
In the limo with those guys, Ernie got toasted. He was on the table. We had to carry him to the car. Yeah. Friday nights, though, I was at the original. I was at Pitt, and I was at the original.
At what time?
Everything.
By one?
Late.
Until you scooped. Yes.
Yep. Love that joint. Hey, what's going on, Princess Gamer? Thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate you being here. Always good to have the gamers come and join us. Appreciate you.
I'm playing Call of Duty right now, actually, but go ahead.
Fellas, I thought it was a good weekend of football. I thought the games were pretty solid. You know, like I didn't think I was shocked at the NFC. I was completely shocked. That was not what I was expecting. The AFC was entertaining. So let's start with the NFC. Your takeaway of Jayden Daniels' performance in that game. What do you think about that? Let's start with Waddy.
I thought it was absolutely solid. It almost, he didn't look like a rookie at all, which was concerning probably for more of the NFC. He looked poised. I was impressed. And I tell you what, if they get a few pieces, they'll be back there next year. They will be right back.
Yeah.
I think Waddy said it all, man. You can only get better, and if you're getting better than what you just did, and it's gonna be some good games for us to watch come next year.
Hey, would you
go off?
Yeah, what'd you think, Chops?
Man, honestly, he's in Philly. It's a huge game. You guys know how Philly fans are. Hell, Philly, they beat up Santa Claus. Philly was the first. No, seriously. You know what I'm saying? Philly was the first place to put a jail in the stadium. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They booed Darren Dalton's son. So you can get it. So I want you to keep that mindset in with that. He, as in Barkley, goes the distance first play. First place. That they're hype. No matter what, the game never looked too much for him. It never. I don't care. He was in the SEC. He played in some big opponents. Nothing like this. And it'd have been different if it had been an NFC Championship game, but he'd have been at home, fellas. He went on the road in divisional game and beat the Lions. He went on the road and played. He didn't get outside himself. The Eagles beat him up. Beat the Commanders up. I mean, they really did punch him in the mouth, had him turn over what they hadn't been doing. But fellas, that game did not look too big for him. It just didn't.
Well, yeah, I wanted to
That's
add
true,
to that.
PG. That is true.
I wanted to add to that like they were going for it on fourth down, like it wasn't like even a question. Like
I know.
It wasn't like, no. It was like, okay, it's 4th and 2. Here's the play. Roll.
Okay. Mark, you go ahead and say what your thoughts were. Then I want to ask you 3 a question after what.
Okay.
She just said.
How about PG here, Princess Gamer? You all know why we beat up Santa, because he was drunk out of his mind and stumbling all over the field. We brought our kids there. We didn't want to see that. The kids didn't want to see that. See, now that doesn't get out to us, PG. That does not get out to the general public. They just make it seem like the Philly fans went off on Santa.
How many of the regular? I got to believe the Philly fans were drunk with half of them with their kids there anyway.
But Jayden Daniels is a special talent, fellas. I think he's a special talent. Next year will tell me more, though. Yes. Only because they'll be prepared for him next year. Yes. Okay, cool as a cucumber, ain't no doubt about it. Him, C.J. Stroud. I got to see Nix next year, but I think Nix has the potential to be part of that conversation. I think there's about 5 young kids that are playing quarterback now, right behind this group with Mahomes and y'all. I think you're going to see a hell of a group of quarterbacks coming through again. Jayden Daniels has a chance to break some serious records, though. He just did things like you said. They would roll out the ball and say, "Go ahead, 4th and 2. Let's run that play."
Yeah.
And let him run with it. Like they didn't even hesitate. That's today's NFL. That is today's NFL. If you got a quarterback you have confidence in, you let him do what he can do. You don't put shackles on his ass. You just don't.
No, you don't. And here's the thing. I said in our text, fellas, we've heard over the last 3 or 4 or 5 years about 3 or 4 different players. This is a generational talent. Everybody can't be a generational talent. This cat may truly be a generational talent because the mindset that he had, the way he carried himself in these last 2 playoff games, you can't coach that. You only get that with experience. He was born with that. You know what I mean? He was born with that. So,
it's a lot of excitement down here for that. They had a rendering of the new RFK if they were to build it, and it looks.
But it's going to be in Virginia. It's not going to be anywhere near. It's not going to be anywhere near where it is. Where they have it.
The rendering that I seen, it was going to be where the original RFK was.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah, that'd be smart. That'd be really smart.
Absolutely. Keep the energy there.
It looked really nice.
As crazy as you think it might be, and I do think it's a little chaotic, crazy that Daniel still lives with his mom is bunking up with him just to keep him in check. But, but for years, Sidney Crosby, like, okay, his parents didn't live with him, but he never got married. That boy is, I just said this on the show I was on last night. That boy never got married. He's still with the same girl since he was like 18 years old, but he's married to the game. And those guys who commit their life to being an extraordinary athlete, you could see it in them from the beginning. And that's what I see with this kid. I think his mom is right for keeping him in. He's 23 years old. When I think about myself at 23 years, well, I don't even want to go down that road.
Well, you're right. But honestly, and we don't talk about it much, but just being real with you, Black athletes are different when they, like, you look at Weather Samar, who has his mother for an agent, and start listening to when they interview a lot of these Black athletes. Their first goal, I need to get my mom out of projects. I want to do this for my mom. I want this for my. It's all about family. And I'm not saying that the white athletes don't do that. However, it's what you look at Shannon Sharp. He has no problem letting you know it was about him and his grandma and getting her out of whatever, and him and Shannon. But here's my question that I wanted to ask you. Dream had mentioned about even when it's 4th and 2. Okay. Dan Campbell stays going for it on 4th. The Bills and the Chiefs continue to go for it on 4th. With a rookie, the Commanders continue to go for it on 4th. Fellas, is that saying that we believe our offenses and quarterbacks are so great we're just going to go for it 60 to 70, 80% of the time on 4th? Or is it because the way they've changed it and defenses don't have a chance, we don't believe they're going to stop us? Because everybody's going for it.
I think Mark already said it. It's just today's game.
Yeah, it's a combo of both too. You got to have confidence in what your quarterback's doing, what your offense is doing, and a little bit of that analytics stuff or whatever. But a little bit of both. You got to have confidence. You got to feel it, and and if it's part of your, I guess your feeling as a coach, because some coaches will do that, some won't. And it's about your personality as a coach too.
And I think I'm sorry, go ahead, Watts.
No, go ahead, Sheen.
I think also with some of those guys, I could say maybe Daniels, Mahomes, Allen, maybe not so much Goff, but if it's 4th and 2, 4th and 1, and they drop back the pass and it opens, bam, they're going to go ahead and take off and get that 2 or 1.
Yeah.
You know what? And honestly, and I haven't been able to say this much, fellas. Maybe you guys look at the game differently, so you have. Defensively, what Spagnuolo did Sunday when they announced it, when they were talking to Jim Nantz said it when they were talking to the Chiefs defense, they said when he isn't Allen goes for a 4th and 1 or 2, he always goes left. Mm-hmm. Nobody else realized that. That's how Spagnuolo had those guys studying film, and that's how tuned in those Chiefs were to realize something nobody else picked up. Hell, they picked it up from the week 6-7 weeks earlier when they played them. That to me was telling how they truly their defense stepped up on that aspect. That was impressive.
If you go back and you look at film, everybody should pick up on that. Just like I've been saying for years.
But nobody did.
I know. I've been saying this for years. Lamar Jackson, inside the 10, the first play he always runs, he's going to keep the ball. He pulls it every single time, but nobody seems to figure that out. It's almost like you get kind of lost in the moment when you're out there. And that happens. You get the adrenaline going and you're looking down inside. You want to cheat, make that play. And people sometimes forget and you get lost in it.
But think about when Waddy says that. Waddy has a full-time job. And from just watching the games, not studying film, watching the games, he picked up on that.
But he doesn't watch the game like the average fan, Chops. I don't watch it like the average fan. You probably don't. Sheen probably doesn't. The average fan looks at the game. They're entertained by the game. Mm-hmm. We look at the nuances of the game. Why do they keep running this motion inside and out? Mm-hmm. Is the coverage coming down with them? Are they rolling the guy? Are they running with them? We're looking at the weaknesses. We're looking why they're – is it the same guy doing the motion? Why are they having him do that motion? What's so significant? Not the average guy doesn't see football like that.
No.
The average person
that's what I'm saying.
Nine times out of 10, when Skoranek is in, we're running the ball. That
Yes.
was always the case.
Okay, but what Waddy said is the guys that are playing Lamar, this is what you're paid to do. All you do is watch film, and you can't pick that up. That to me is where nobody's studying film like they used to, and they're not. That bothers me when I'm talking about the actual athletes and the players. Waddy got a job where he's putting in 40, 50, 60 hours a week watching game, but that being a defensive coordinator is not his job, and he picked up on that.
But he watches enough.
It's common for me not to pick it up.
Listen, Joe's right though. The Bills coaching staff should recognize that everything's running left. If they want to go to the Super Bowl, they should have recognized that and changed that up. Let's be honest.
Do you think they ask what Allen? You take it where you feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Do you think he feels more comfortable going?
No,
left?
they probably have more confidence in that side of the line. But whether you have confidence in that side of the line or not, if you're going to do that, you got to do it with a silent count. You got to do it on first sound. You got to do it on 3. You got to mix that up. You know, that and the fact that the reason Philly is so good with the tush push, they don't put fucking Tank Johnson in the backfield to push somebody forward. They don't. They get a big heavy back there, somebody who can bench press 350 pounds, and he pushes Hurts forward. They didn't have that. Buffalo didn't have that. And I'm thinking to myself, why are you having a running back? They didn't even have a tight end moving him forward. You know, if you need that, you got to get a heavy there to move the guy. I just, that's one piece. Waddy's 100% correct, and Joe's 100% correct. That is one piece where they got outcoached right there. If you can't make that small adjustment, the brotherly shove. We know, Princess G. We know.
and then and for next year, especially, or even shoot for the Eagles, of course, they're in the Super Bowl. Look for something coming off of that tush push at some point. Because I tell you what, if I'm a coach and I'm in the Super Bowl and I've lined up every single time and I know I'm in that little tush push, look for somebody to slip out at some point in time.
I think the Bills did that. Didn't the Bills do that where they flipped it off? They flipped it. They tried to flip it.
Oh, well, he tried to do that because he was stopped. But I'm just saying at some point, there's got to be a play that comes off of that. And I'm telling you, the right time to run it is in the Super Bowl against KC. Because they
beat Philly. They beat the Patriots with the Philly special or whatever it was when they flipped it into So don't be surprised. Don't be surprised.
Be surprised.
What's going on, Big G? Big Glenn join us tonight along with Joe and Princess G. Good to have all these people on with us. Hey,
absolutely.
This young lady killing me. Please call what we call it the brotherly shove. We hate being called the tush push.
Yeah, that tush push. Yeah,
sounds childish.
It's the tush push.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. I love that. Let me ask you guys this: the Commanders, did they inevitably let the pressure get to them, or is Philly just dominant? Like they scored 55 points in an NFC championship. Now, they capitalized on 3 turnovers and put them in the end zone for 21 points. But if you subtract that 21 points, it's still 34-23. Are they that dominant?
For me, for some players, it was a little bit too much for them. And then for some of the players, it wasn't. Like Zach Ertz, believe it or not.
Wait, hold up, Watt. And for one of the guys, it shouldn't have been. But go ahead, Zach Ertz.
Zach Ertz. I mean, it obviously wasn't because he came to play ball. I mean, of course, he was an ex-Philly guy, but he came to play ball. Obviously, the quarterback, as we said before, but there were a few dudes out there dropping those balls, fumbling that ball like that. Hey, I think that it got a little big. Return the kickoff, you fumbling. Come on, man. You can't do that. This is an NFC championship game. You can't.
The stage was too big.
And Eckler's a veteran. He's a veteran. He shouldn't have covered up that ball.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see this same matchup again for a couple more years. Maybe not in a row, but over the next 4 or 5 years, if we see Washington and the Eagles in the championship game. I mean, The Eagles are ultra talented, fellas. Like them, hate them, whatever you want to say. They are an ultra talented team. Their defense is extremely young. They've got 2 inside tackles that played at Georgia that were just dominant in college against NFL players. Now they're dominating NFL players on the NFL field in Carter and Davis. Like, it's amazing to watch them play. It really is. Like, I tip my hat to the Eagles and the way they run that. And here's something I didn't know. Princess G, maybe you know this, but here's something I didn't know. The Eagles had stripped Howie Roseman of a lot of his power about, 3-4 years ago. And then they unequivocally gave it back to him in small increments as far as, what he could do, the draft, all that stuff. And that's when he decided to kind of put this together like he has. That power was allocated out to other people. And now he is the director of football operations. He's calling the shots with who's being hired with the coaches, who the head coach is. He made the call on Wentz, and that was part of the problem. They said that Wentz wasn't the guy that they really needed. And they pulled the plug on that quick, kind of like Pittsburgh did with Kenny Pickett. But when they pulled the plug on that, and this was a really interesting thing that I heard, when they pulled the plug on that, they already had Hurts on the squad.
Yeah, he drafted Hurts.
Yeah. So here, Princess G gave us some more info. She said, yes, they did for a while because of the draft misses and such. They punished him, and because of that, Howie took the gloves off and started swinging. And he should, and he did. And that's why you guys, to be honest with you, you are a model franchise right now. I have a lot more respect for the Eagles and the things that they're doing than I ever did for New England. I like Sirianni. They were ready to pull. Remember, guys, they were going to push Sirianni out the door. Was it the beginning of this year? Is that what it was? The beginning of this year?
Don't forget, after 10 or 11 games last year, they were talking about also his job.
Yeah.
The year after he went to the Super Bowl, they were about to get rid of him, which shocked me.
The Commanders, you're right, though. The Commanders are going to have a crap ton of money. I look for them to go out and get somebody who is going to be opposite McLaren, and I could see them making a run at like a T. Higgins. I mean, they got something like $93 million to play with. They have a lot of money because they have a lot of young guys.
That is trouble.
It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. So, last question about this game, though. Let's talk about Saquon and let's talk about Hurst. Jalen Hurts. I'm sorry, Jalen Hurts. What's that? That tandem was unbelievable because in all reality, and let's call it what it was, Saquon had that first carry, 61 yards, and then he kind of, I don't want to say he struggled, but we know he was having some problems with his his upper Achilles, whatever it was, his calf, whatever it was. He was still crunching some yards out, but boy, right. Jalen Hurts made them pay for that. I was never, no offense, Princess G, but I was never like, oh, Hurts can throw the ball well, but man, was he on the money that day. Oh, I'll tell you.
And you're right. And to me, though, if you don't win the typical way that let's not forget, a few weeks ago, they were talking about the issues with the Eagles. They're winning, and they're talking about how bad the passing game is. The objection is to win. Yeah. I didn't get that. Just like I didn't understand. I just don't get that. So you're right. He's not the Mahomes. He's not with his arm, whatever have you. But the goal is what Herm Edwards say, you play to win the game.
Yeah.
And that's what he keeps doing, man. That's what he keeps doing.
Yep. Joe seems to think that Kansas City will be better prepared than the Commanders. And the one thing I'll say about that, Joe, and I think you guys will all kind of agree with me here, this stage is not too big for Kansas City. This is their third Super Bowl in a row. They've been to the AFC Championship 6 times in a row. I mean, this is no other than Mahomes has only lost as a starting quarterback in the AFC Championship to the Bengals once and to New England once. And that's it. I mean, he's 28 years old. He has 3 Super Bowls. You know, Brady was 41, 42, and he got his 7th. I mean, we're looking at something here with this kid. We really are. You know, Princess G, she hit us back again. She said them getting Saquon. She called 2,400 yards receiving and rushing when they got him,
and he should have had it.
Yeah, yep, yeah. And you're right, Princess G. A lot of people frowned on Hurts, so much so that he slipped to the second round. I will tell you this: my guy Waddy was all on Hurts, and he wanted the Steelers to get him. I will never forget that. You were all on Hurts. You said he's a leader. They need to bring him in. And
Hurts even said he thought that the Steelers were going to take him.
Mm-hmm.
He thought that. That's what he said.
And we should have.
Yeah. Well, we're saving our Steelers talk, fellas, for Thursday night. For those of you who are on here and like our show, we're starting a new podcast called Terrible Talk, and it's going to be Pittsburgh Steelers talk. Even if you're not a Steelers fan, I'm sure we're going to sprinkle in a lot of stuff about other teams. We'll do comparisons. We'll look at statistics. We'll look at players from other teams and try and match them up with what the Steelers have. And right now, we know they are a train wreck. So, and I will be completely honest with you. Our cards are going to be on the table. There will be no stone unturned without us saying how it is. So, without beating up any more of that, we'd love for you to tune in Thursday nights with us at 7:00. It's at least us four and possibly T. Sizz. He's had a lot going on in his life. That's why you haven't seen him lately, but he will be back at some point. Let's move into the Bills in Kansas City. First question.
Hold on for half a second. The last commentator said like KC would have something, and you even mentioned, Barber, that the lights in this situation won't be too big for Kansas City, which we know. Do you think this Super Bowl game will be too big for the Eagles?
No, they've already played in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
They played in it last year with everybody but Saquon.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
No. Yeah. I'm just saying Kansas City has won 3 Super Bowls. This stage is different for them than it is for the Eagles. Especially Saquon. But it doesn't seem like there's any stage too big for Saquon. I watched that kid. They showed him on the sidelines. He was taking pictures, hugging babies, kissing kids, dapping up dads. And then he goes in and rips off a 61-yard touchdown, 15 minutes later. And I'm thinking to myself, good God,
now he gets to heal that leg. That leg gets some time to heal.
Yeah. Hey, he's cool as the other side of the pillow, man. He
doesn't hurt when it doesn't hurt when you have a great offensive line.
This is true. This is true.
Yep.
Now I will say with KC. Now remember, you got Reed. He's 30 and whatever, and 2, 3, 4. When he gets that bye week, he's hard to beat.
You know what I noticed about, and let's just continue to talk about those two teams. They did not have a specific running scheme that they ran behind. I saw zone runs. I saw counter trays. I saw sweeps. I saw toss sweeps. I saw guards being pulled on sweeps. I saw guards staying home. I saw traps. I saw quarterback leads with the fullback or the running back leading the fullback. There was you can't hang your hat on, we're just running a zone offense. Those guys were well equipped with power game. Those guys were well equipped with almost a wing T mentality with some of that, that sweep stuff. The counter tray stuff is a part of that power game. And then obviously that zone game, it was interesting. I actually saw it in all 4 games. I'm not going to lie. I saw it in all 4 games. And I got back, again, I'm not going to go down the Steeler road, but I got back to thinking as I'm watching this, the level of creativity, not only from the offensive coordinator, but the skill level of the offensive line coaches for those teams to be able to instruct those guys and then plug in pieces. Remember, Philadelphia was down to their third center, who wasn't that big of he was big, but he wasn't that big of a guy. And they were using him. They were getting double teams for him and everything. And it made a difference. Yeah.
So,
when you talk about that running game, Mark, I'm interested to see, because when you have 2 D tackles like Davis and Carter, when they're putting guards and tackles and centers in the backfield, that disrupts the running game. So I'm interested to see how the coaching staff from the Chiefs plan it going in, and if it doesn't work after the first series or two, how they adjust on the fly. Because defensive tackles like that are disruptors. They're valuable. So I do want to see how the Chiefs offense plays against that, because you're right. They're being counter trays and options, and you can't scheme for them. So I'm interested to see how they play it. Both teams, to be honest with you.
What's going on, Big J? Good to see you joining us tonight. Thanks for jumping in. With the counter trade too, and this is the last point I'll touch on with this though. I saw them pulling guard and tackle. I saw them pulling tight end and tackle. I saw them pulling a second tight end who was sitting off the ass end of the first tight end in a guard. Like they did not. There was no way you were just picking up what they were doing. They disguised so much of how they were attacking that run, and that's part of the planning. I think Super Bowl is going to be a great game. It's not
yes, sir.
It's not the Super Bowl we all wanted. Everybody wanted to see. I'm not going to lie. I want to see Washington in Buffalo. I'm not going to lie. I just want to see.
I wanted to see Philly in Kansas City.
But I do think this one's going to be a nail biter again. Unless Philly really gets the pressure on Mahomes. So let's finish with the Bills.
Before we move on, let's let Princess G tell us what she thinks in the comments.
Yeah, please, Princess G, go ahead and tell us what you're thinking in the comments. I know she did write this already. She hit us with this. Oh, sorry, Joe. No way. We've been there, done that. Also, the Chiefs' run defense might not be up to par to stop Barkley. Not joking. Barkley will be fine. Oh, well, I believe it 100%. I believe it 100%. Gainwell is the one it would worry me a little bit more. But after watching Shipley run the freaking ball, guys, he had 6 carries for 81 yards. I was like, what the hell? I mean, I knew it was garbage time. The game was kind of over, but he runs the ball well.
Confidence builder.
Yeah. So let's start with this. Did the refs actually play a part in Kansas City's victory? This is the question that one of you guys put in here, and I think it's a legitimate question. 3 things I wrote down on my paper. The face mask that didn't get called, which was an obvious face mask. The ball hitting the ground and then being given to Kansas City. Okay. The ball hitting the ground, then giving it to Kansas City where it was marked. And then the Josh Allen first down, fellas. Why did the line judge who was looking right at the play not get to make the call? Why did they go to the guy from the other side of the field on the other hash and value what he said initially?
Because one of them is the headlines judge, and then the other one's So that's probably kind of that. You know what I mean? So one kind of overrules the other. In a sense on that, what was it the right call or not? I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, shoot, you kind of you can't, because you're looking down the line and you're trying to figure out where the ball is versus where he stopped, where they blow the whistle. I mean, there's so much going on in that particular moment on a play like that. And hey, Josh Allen, get a little bit lower and use your 240 some pounds and not be up all high, you probably get that first down, so that goes for that call. But I don't know.
You know what's crazy, man? We've all read the studies. We've been sending back and forth, and when they've been doing it, how many more calls the Chiefs get than other teams. You can't dispute that, whatever have you. And Barber, you're totally correct on all those calls, whatever have you. But in this case, Buffalo, you just didn't get it done. And I know playing the Chiefs is hard on its own. But when you have, and fellas, it bothers me. People say that was 1 or 2 plays. But when you're talking athletes this size, those 1 or 2 plays matter. However, Buffalo had the chances and times to do things. In that drive where he didn't get, we're talking about that with the 4th and 8 there, didn't get it. There were a couple of times where Spagnuolo, one time he blitzed the corner from that side, and just so happened Josh rolled into it, where he had the back on the flat. I'm not saying the moment was too big for him, but he panicked. He didn't go to his hot route on that blitz, whatever have you. And Kincaid, you've got to make that catch. You've got to. And as much, fellas, and here's the thing, and I talked about this. If you think the refs cheat for the Chiefs, okay, great. But as much as you do that, you have to be honest with yourselves. The Chiefs don't make mistakes. When they need a play, nobody drops the ball. On that third and 9 or whatever it was, that was the first time Perine had touched the ball all game. He catches it and then still runs 8 yards as he beats a tackle. You can't beat that. You know what I mean?
Princess G's 100% right here, though. If
There's
Kansas City,
two teams that do that.
Let me finish this thought, Waddy. If Kansas City can't maintain and score with the Eagles, because the Eagles are going to score, guys. They're going to score. And the Eagles start running the ball consistently in the second half, being up, they're not going to make the mistakes they made last year. It's just not going to happen that way. I agree with her.
Two teams, Waddy. Yeah. Who's the other one?
Two teams in the AFC that play that can do that. One, obviously, is the Ravens. They can do that. And then the other one is the Chargers. They can do that. They can wear you down. Those two teams can do that.
I'll be curious. Going forward, Waddy, I'll be curious to see now that Derrick Henry has a year under his belt as a Raven and coordinators have an entire offseason to scheme up what they did consistently. I'll be curious to see if he comes close to 2,000 next year. I really will. That will be that this might have been a big year for them, and dropping that game might have been more significant than people think. You know, I don't know. Here you go. What counterpoint, Watson? When the Ravens played the Eagles, where was that wearing us down? You know, yeah. I still don't like. I got to see it from the Ravens consistently. That's what I got to see. And I know they get there, and they get there on Lamar's arm and Lamar's legs now, his arm now and his legs. But that'll be something to watch next year. That's not where we're at, though.
And as you mentioned, the Ravens, it's kind of crazy because right now the Ravens realize they've got to beat. If you're Lamar, you've got to beat Allen to get to the AFC Championship. If you're Allen, it's in the back of your mind, I can't beat Mahomes to get to the Super Bowl.
In the playoffs.
Yes.
He's 0-4.
Yes. The Eagles, they don't have that. They lost to him once, but they don't have that sort of mental hurdle to get over.
Right.
As it's you know what I mean? So I'm interested to see, fellas. I really am interested to see. This is going to be a good game.
I don't think the Eagles have an Achilles heel.
No.
And I don't think Kansas City really has an Achilles heel. Maybe the Bills in regular season because they've lost to them the last 3 times in regular season. But regular season doesn't matter if you win in the playoffs.
Right.
You're right. And the crazy part is you have Mahomes, which solves a lot, but you have Kelsey, who was slowing down a little bit, we thought, until the playoffs started. He doesn't have great receivers. As we say, they don't have Achilles heel because they keep winning, but there's nobody on that team other than Mahomes and Kelsey, who didn't turn on until the playoffs, that you really fear. But
Worthy is starting to make you fear a little bit with that speed. He hits that corner. He makes you go, okay, let me keep an eye on this dude. But other than that,
I know. No. But they won every way they're supposed to. Every way this year. It's going to be. I'm ready. I'm geeked, man.
Listen. Here's guys who caught the ball for them. Kelsey, the other tight end, what's his name? Gant, the other tight end for them. He caught the ball, and the third tight end had a catch.
Yes.
Xavier Worthy had catches. Juju had 2 catches.
Yes.
Okay. DeAndre Hopkins, his running backs had catches. I bet you 10 guys touched the ball.
Yes.
I forget the name of Hopkins. Jeez.
You know, I mean, it's just different. It's just different. But on the other side of that, Hurts did a great job of distributing the ball too.
Hurts did a great job. The great thing about Hurts, if I'm Hurts, I go into this saying, I don't have to have a great passing game because the Chiefs are going to have to respect the play action RPO. They're going to have to. And if you can manage, your tight end is solid. Your receivers are just manage. Don't try to force anything. Fellas, I know I keep saying that this is going to be a great game. Hell, I wish they could do this best out of 3. Play away, go another way. I wish this is going to be a good one, fellas. This is going to be a good one.
What's up, Waddy?
I tell you what Philly's going to have to figure out, and it's going to be a little game time situation that they're going to have to figure out when Spags decides to blitz. Because I got a feeling if I'm that D coordinator, I'm coming after him. I'm doing run fits and I'm blitzing the heck out of him. One, I need to see Hurts throw the ball.
Yeah.
So it's going to beat me. He got to do it. I'm not going to let Saquon do it. I can't. Because if he gets off, now that's everybody else is going to get off. So I am coming after Hurts.
Why do you start?
I'm not letting him.
Are you starting out with the illusion you got 8 in the box by rolling the safety down and letting him bail on a pass? Is that how you're going to attack that? I mean,
absolutely.
Are you going to bring in another line? What are you going to do?
I'm doing safeties. I'm dropping. Then I'm coming out. I'm doing backers. I'm going to try to confuse them on who's coming, but we're coming. I'm not sitting and letting Hurts decide. Let me roll this way a little bit. Let me roll that way a little bit. That's how you got to throw. Yeah,
Fangio's going to do the same thing to Mahomes. He's going to do the same thing to Mahomes. There's no question about it.
I can't let him sit back there because if you do, then that gives him time. And like you said, he's going to draw dimes on you. So you can't let him do it. Make him throw in the middle of the field.
So Joe wants to know how much does a quarterback have on the fly? Joe, they got RPOs, run pass options. They go up, they count the box, they make their decision from there. First of all, they count the box. Then they look at the coverage. Is the coverage man? Does it look like cover 2? Am I reading cover 3? What am I reading? That's where he makes his decision. That's what I'll be honest with you. That's what makes Mahomes really dangerous.
Yes. And
really,
I was just going to say that.
Really
Mahomes is more, and crazy as it is, Mahomes is more dangerous to some degree in the RPO than Hurst. He doesn't run as well as Hurst, and their running back isn't as great as Barkley and whatever have you. However, not if he, as in Hurst, pulls it and wants to pass, you're not worried about him doing something with the pass as much as you are with. Ooh, man, fellas, damn, I'm ready for this one. It's going to be
a good game.
Only thing I'll say, Princess G, I know you gave me all the numbers, the touchdowns, the passer rating, and everything. I think they changed their game plan in the second half in Philadelphia, and that's what hurt them in the Super Bowl last year. But you got Saquon now to take a lot of that pressure off. I will say that. Hey, guys, you think Allen will ever get over the hump?
I don't.
Beating Kansas City?
It's like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. At some point, he'll get one, but you already know which guy's going to have the most. But I think it's sort of like that. That's what it kind of reminds me of. And it's just one of those things, man. The dude's sitting right there in front of you, and you can't do anything.
100%. 100%. Hey, the Cowboys, what a joke organization. I get pissed off about the Steelers, but what a joke this is. They hire Brian Schottenheimer. No offense to the man. Honestly, he's 51 years old, getting his first head coaching gig. I don't know. Guys, I do a Maradei Minute every day, and I share some facts about what's going on in the world of sports. I don't know if you guys hear me or anything, just to help promote our show. But I did some research on Schottenheimer. This guy has never stuck with a team when his coach got fired. So think about that first of all. Think about that. This guy also was a backup in college when he played to Danny Werfel. He threw 38 passes with 25 for 38 for 295 yards. That was his college career. Is this guy really gonna promoting him at Dallas? Is this the answer, or is this a puppet for Jerry to be able to manipulate?
All of the above. And I say that because we can't hold his college career against him. Don't forget, Matt Castle never had a start and he got drafted. You know what I mean? Remember Matt Castle. However, but real talk, and it's also a glaring indictment when I think in the 30 years, has he had an opportunity to interview for a head coach? I think once. But in the fact of 30 years and you being with these different teams, nobody has ever tried to hire you as a head coach. That to me speaks some sort of volumes. I don't know what it is, whatever.
Or to keep you around. If the staff he's on gets fired, nobody looks at him and says, you know what, we're going to retain you. Because guys retain guys. Let's face it. Guys retain guys. Proven coaches stick around.
We don't know what it'll be. Hell, nobody knew what Tomlin was going to be. We all looked, they were successful. So I don't want to say the guy can't be successful. I don't want to say that. But we do know why Jerry hired him. Did you hear, real quick, fellas, in the press conference, I don't know how many of you guys watched it today or whatever have you, how much Jerry kept referring and saying, deference. Is this guy referred to? This guy picks people's brains. You did that as an associate or an offensive coordinator or whatever have you. Now, if that's people born round don't die square. If you are a guy that's used to going to everyone to try to get guidance, first off, Jerry loves that because you're never going to question anything he says. But also, fellas, do you have the confidence that he now can make the decision and stick with it? I don't. I just don't, because he's been let me go to this guy to get this. Let me go to this guy to get this. Let me go to this guy to get that. He's never been the guy.
He got promoted as a quarterback's coach. Most guys who get hired today, aside from having head coaching experience already, are a coordinator. It's very rare that the quarterback's coach gets promoted. Hey, what's up, Mickey D? Thanks for joining us tonight. Good to see you here.
What about the familiarity?
Then you could have kept the
familiarity.
Yeah.
Then you should have just kept McCarthy. McCarthy.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, I agree. And you're right, Princess G. That they are. I don't know what the Giants are planning on doing. I'm hearing rumors of Kirk Cousins. I hear Shador. I hear Cam Ward. I will tell you this right now, fellas. I would not draft a quarterback in this draft in the first round.
No,
I would.
I don't see the talent.
I would draft either a D lineman or an offensive lineman. If I needed anything else, I'd go receiver. But I'd never draft backs. And you know what? I would draft the freak kid from Tyler Warren from Penn State before I would draft one of these quarterbacks. Isn't that crazy? That's how I feel, though. Like, I don't think any of these guys are going to make it. I'm hearing Jalen Milroe's name thrown around. Fellas, I've watched him. I'm sure you all have watched him. He's garbage. Okay, go to the UFL. The Arena League got places for you.
I seen Jalen this summer at a celebrity softball game. He struck out on 12 pitches.
That doesn't shock me.
Softball?
Yeah, that does not shock me.
Well,
12 pitches.
Hey, we got about 8 minutes left, and I want to finish this up talking a little bit of baseball because we put some guys in the Hall of Fame. Ichiro was one vote short of getting a unanimous decision.
That's nuts.
Who the hell would have an issue with Ichiro?
Barbara, I know you're big on baseball. So maybe you can help me. You baseball guys, and I'm lumping you in that just because you're a baseball guy. Some of these unwritten rules make me want to throw somebody off a building. They say on the first ballot, very rarely they vote 100%. What is that shit? What is that? I mean, that dude's a clown.
I'm gonna give you a fact here in just a little bit, but I think the whole process is antiquated with baseball. You've got guys that are 80 years old still voting for baseball. They've had a grudge on Pete Rose for years. I don't give a shit what Pete did. Pete belongs in the Hall of Fame, even if you do it posthumously. Go ahead, Sheen. I'm sorry.
That's not just baseball, Barbara. That's when you talk to people who write for the newspapers, all that, man. It's time to roll them people up out of here, man. Yep. Jerry Dulac for Pittsburgh. It's time to roll these guys up out of here.
Well, that's why I like what we bring to the table. We come with facts and we give opinionated. Our opinions are based off of facts, based off of knowledge, based off of playing games, based off of just years of watching it, but we're so young. We've seen generations come through, dating back into the late 60s and 70s and forward, I think some of these guys are still, like you said, Sheen, they're still stuck in like the 1970s with some of this shit. I don't have time for it. We talked about this last night. On the baseball podcast. And they said, what do you think about Dave Parker getting in? And I said, the only reason Dave Parker didn't get in a long time ago is because he was part of that cocaine conspiracy in Pittsburgh. That's the only reason. That is the only reason Parker did not get in a long time ago. You can't hold that. If that was the case, LT still wouldn't be in. He's messing with 16-year-old girls. He's doing blow. We're judging these guys on their talent to be in the Hall of Fame. We're not judging them on their character.
Right.
That's as bad as that might sound. And to me, it kind of sounds bad, but that's the harsh reality of it. Somebody put that question in there, and I thought it was a great question. And the other one put in there, and I do. If nobody has an answer for this, I do. What finalists this year surprised you? He still didn't get in. Do you?
A-Rod.
Oh
A-Rod.
yeah, right there.
A-Rod. And here's the thing. Number one, I've never been an A-Rod guy. I've never been.
4 years he's been retired.
Yeah, I've never been an A-Rod guy.
4 tries, I mean.
Damn sure never liked the Yankees. However, 4th time on the ballot.
Yeah.
However, when he got caught with his PEDs, he didn't lie. He said, he took his punishment. He took his legs. Yeah, I did it. This, that, whatever. Tried to apologize. But I do think he's a hell of a talent. I thought he was a better shortstop than Jeter. But Yankees were Jeter's team, so A-Rod had to move. And he moves, and he still makes All-Star games Golden Gloves. I thought it was A-Rod. I thought it was A-Rod.
Fellas, many years ago, my brother-in-law lived up in Boston, and he worked for a company that had seats right on the rail on the third base side. And we went to a game right after the All-Star break, the very first game. It was Yankees and the Sox, and both teams were loaded. I looked right in front of me. A-Rod was at third. Jeter was at short. Clemens was on the mound. I'm like, God dang. Wow. Do you realize what you're watching here, sir? Do you like that was insane? Schilling was on the mound for Boston at the time.
Go ahead, Waddy. Hit us.
Is Clemens in the Hall of Fame?
No.
How is he not?
The Royd era.
PD.
Yeah. Yep.
The Royd era.
They just need to put an asterisk beside his name. That's all.
Now you know why I can't do baseball. What in the world?
No, it makes sense.
Guys right there. They're not in the. How's he not there?
Yeah.
Between the money that's getting thrown around, I can't wait to get into this stuff down the road when we get after football season, really. But listen to these numbers, okay? A-Rod, lifetime 295 batting average, 3,115 hits, 696 home runs, 2,086 RBIs, and 2,021 runs scored. I'm going to give you some numbers from another guy who recently got in. He's a 286 lifetime hitter, 2,472 runs batted in, 541 home runs, 1,768 RBIs, and 1,419 runs scored. This guy just got in. Anybody want to take a guess?
Couldn't begin to imagine because I'm not saying who was it?
David Ortiz.
Oh.
See, I didn't think he
Big Papi. I didn't think he should have got in.
Wow.
He never did nothing. He never did anything that I was going, ooh.
He was big in the playoffs. He had some good playoffs and good World Series. But that to me is where he made his money. But that does not make you Hall of Fame.
No.
You know what I'm saying? That to me.
Wow. No. You know, when you get those numbers from A-Rod and then those numbers from Ortiz, how are you keeping A-Rod out? He was never convicted of doing anything wrong.
No, he wasn't.
Never. In fact, he was an announcer in baseball games and stuff. He still does stuff.
Yeah.
He's still part of that, between inning or the panels before big games. Stuff like, how is he not in? Who's holding him back?
You think J-Lo holding him back?
That thickened. She's holding Diddy back. Hey, fellas, what a fantastic night. What a great show. You can see where you can reach everybody. You can find Waddy on Threads. You can find him on Twitter at Coach K-Watt. What is that? 10, Coach K-Watt 10. The Real Big Chops. You can find him on Twitter. You can find him on TikTok. You can find him in his government name on Facebook.
You know it. I like Chiamo.
Shane, you can find him
everywhere.
On TikTok. You can find him on Instagram.
Everywhere.
He's out there. Hey, you can find the OSP. You can find the OSP everywhere too. To be quite honest with you, we have a nice webpage. We've been putting a bunch of articles up, y'all. All of us, all four of us have been writing. We're getting other people to chime in. So we're adding Doug Riley, one of my fraternity brothers, has started writing for us too. He's doing a Steeler piece. He did an excellent Steeler piece. And I have some other people that
you're an Omega?
No, I'm a Kid. I was not a Q dog.
You can't do that.
No, you can't do that. You can't do that.
No, I can't. I ain't got no brand. Look, I ain't got no brands. I promise you.
Real quick, before we get out of here, as a baseball question, we'll come back to it because we're getting to baseball once season starts and football's over. What are your criteria to be when you say the greatest hitter in baseball? What do you consider? Again, don't have to get into that, But I want to talk about that later because I think Tony Gwynn should be higher on the list when you talk about greatest hitter.
We can come up with the top 10 because I can give you guys. I can give you
okay.
Rod Carew, Tony Gwynn, Pete Rose, Splendid Splinter, Ted Williams. He's the last guy to hit 400.
Tony Gwynn is in, right?
Yeah. So all those guys.
Yeah. But when you talk about the greatest hitter, a lot of times they'll talk like Pete Rose or they don't talk guys who are like more home run hitters. But getting on base is the ultimate why you get up to bat. And that's what Tony Gwynn did.
Yeah.
Ted Williams.
Yep. Splendid Splinter. He's the last guy to hit 400. Hey, you can find us on our webpage, Original Sports Podcast, with podpage.com, Original Sports Podcast with Mark Maradei. We're on Facebook, X, and Snapchat. All of that is OSP with MM. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube. All of that is Original Sports Podcast. You can find our link tree in our show notes, and that'll take you to any one of our social medias and sign up for all those. Big shout out to our networks, Let's Talk Sports, Sideline Sports, Elite Sports and Entertainment, Manning Media, ESEN, which is Elite Sports and Entertainment, Peak One Sports. Most recently, we have been picked up by PDF Sportsnet and, of course, National Streaming Sports. So we're really out there, people. You can find us anywhere. We're on Roku on Tuesday nights for what's going on? We're on Roku 7 o'clock on Tuesday nights on the National Streaming Sports page or their TV station, whatever it is. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, reach out to us at originalsportspodcast@gmail.com. Thanks to Steve Medley for doing our voice intro, Charlie Hodgson for doing our music, and he's getting ready to do our music for season 6, which is in April. Will launch. Chops, who are you laughing with? He's talking to his girl or someone there. Make sure you join us next Tuesday night. Actually, make sure you join us Thursday for our initial show for Terrible Talk at 7 o'clock right here. And if you can't make it, we'll see you next Tuesday on the Original Sports Podcast so you can experience the O.
Welcome back.
Excellent stuff, fellas.
This podcast is part of the Frederick Podcast Network. Learn more at listenfrederick.com.